All right, before we go to discussing logarithmic functions, let's see the first one, one-to-one function, because these concepts are important to relate logarithmic function with exponential function. So one-to-one function, generally, a function is said to be one-to-one if its range value, this is very important, corresponding to exactly one domain value. For example, let's see example 1, 2, 3. This is the x, and 2, 3, 4. And if they are related one to one, so every x value is corresponding to exactly one y value. That is a one-to-one function. Remember, this is a domain of the function. This is a domain. What's happened here? Domain. This is range. So no repetition along x values and y values. However, if you look at, for example, this one, 1, 2, 3, and this one is, for example, 4, 5. So if one is, or this one, this is not one-to-one one function. So exactly one x value should relate with one y value. In terms of function, for example, if you are given f of x is equal to 3x plus 1, this is one-to-one function, because every x values has its own y value output. So for example, f of 1 is 3 times 1 plus 1, which is 4. F of 2 is 3 times 2 plus 1, which is 7. F of negative 1 is negative 3 plus 1, which is negative 2. F of negative 2 is negative 6 plus 1, which is negative 5. So unique values of x and y. So these are one-to-one function. However, for example, if you look at example, let's say f of x is equal to x squared. Now, if you look at this, for example, f of 1 is 1 square. F of negative 1, again, the same thing. 1 negative 1 square, which is in both cases 1, 1. If you just take f of negative 2, this is negative 2 square, which is 4. F of positive 2, again 2 square, which is 4. Do you see that this is not one-to-one? Because, if you look at 1 is with, just 1, negative 1, it gives you 1, and negative 2 and 2 also, they have 4. So these are not one-to-one, not one-to-one function. So one-to-one function and not one-to-one function. So one-to-one function, the definition is a function is said to be one-to-one if each range value corresponding to exactly one domain value. Why it is important, we'll see in our next discussion, because in order to find the inverse of a function, the function must be one-to-one one function. So for example, the exponential function is a one-to-one function. For example, f of x is equal to, let's say, 2 to the x is a one-to-one function. Since it is a one-to-one function, then we can find the inverse of the exponential function which is called logarithmic function. So in order to find the inverse of a given function, the function must be a one-to-one function. So f of x is equal to 2 to the x to x, or 3 to the x, 4 to the x, or any exponential functions are one-to-one function, then we can find the inverse of this exponential function, and we call them logarithmic function.